Hey, podcast fans, we've got big news. Tickets and tables for the 2025 Access Connects Leadership Forum are officially on sale.
That's right. On November 25th in Calgary, we're bringing together leaders from across industries for a full day of conversation, connection, and change.
You'll hear from world-class speakers and have the opportunity to join panels and fireside chats on the issues shaping leadership today, from navigating politics and gender equity to building inclusive workplaces and driving innovation in a changing economy.
The forum is more than just a conference. It's a chance to connect with peers, meet new allies, and walk away with insights you can apply immediately to your organization.
Tickets are limited and tables are selling fast.
Head to accessconnects.com to grab your tickets or reserve a table. And don't wait too long. This event sells out every year.
Join us November 25th. Be part of the conversation and be part of the change.
Okay, so I'm excited to talk about a topic today. So welcome to The Quiet Part Out Loud. I'm Nuvyn.
And I'm Alex.
And we just came from a very interesting event and are excited to share some of the data with you. We've recently partnered with this great organization called the Prosperity Project. Definitely check them out. They do some very comprehensive research on the funnel and pipeline of talent as it pertains to women in leadership. What are some trends that we are seeing? What do retention rates from some of Canada's top corporations look like in terms of women in leadership? And what does that mean for future opportunities? And we had a fascinating discussion with an amazing panel from various perspectives on different trends, emerging ways of thinking about workplace benefits, flexible work options, the disproportionate impact that COVID had on women and their career aspirations. But upon reflection on some of the data, there were a few other things that emerged. And Alex, I really want to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, I would love to talk about this. I think what you're referring to is part of the study, which is called the Annual Report Card, and you can find it on the Prosperity Project website. One of the standout pieces of data from that report was that the pipeline to leadership, so they measured down to 4 levels of leadership. That pipeline to leadership is actually decreased since 2022. And so sort of the peak was that post-COVID, women were being, elevated into these leadership roles, and that is now decreasing in 2025. And so I'm curious what the cause of that could be. Is it that we are witnessing these women put into roles that there is huge pressure on? There's so many elements, like there are these gaps that exist, right? Which we're going to probably talk about at the Leadership Forum. There are expectations that might not be reasonable. What's your opinion, Nuvyn, of what might be causing this decrease in the pipeline to leadership?
Yeah, it's been fascinating. And I think some corporations can chalk it up to return to work mandates, perhaps. People saying, you know what, I don't want to be in the workplace. I think we talk a lot about the sandwich generation of women both being mothers and supporting parents. But I think there's another, probably more unspoken, or dare I say, the quiet part in quiet, that's still very pervasive. And that is leadership worth it?
Mm-hmm.
If we look at the pressures upon a leader to be consultative yet decisive, the blurred lines between work and home, like you are on all the time, and the level of commitment, personal sacrifice that often goes along with these roles. And I think there is an element of, I don't know if I want that. I don't know if as a mother, as a partner, as someone who's, trying to care for my parents or have balance in my life with a focus on mental health and wellness. Do I want that?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want that life?
I think you're right. And it may have been perceived to be worth it when we were able to work from home and throw a load of laundry in while we're on a Zoom call. And now with these return to office mandates, I mean, a 3-day a week return to office mandate, you can still do those things on your 2 days working from home. But when the mandate is 5 days a week, and then if you're reading between the lines, you're in the office 5 days a week. But as a senior leader, you're then working in the evenings when your kids are at their activities, or you're working over the weekend. Maybe you're actually working in some capacity 7 days a week. And so, really, that return to office is draining your free time because you're doing the extra activities in your free time, which nobody really wants.
I think there's this moment of reflection that as a society, collectively, we are in the throes of. And that is the level of burnout that exists amongst senior leaders, men or women, and the amount of mental, spiritual, physical, emotional dedication that these roles require at an age and stage in one's life. I think people are questioning, and maybe COVID was a catalyst for this reflection. Is this something that I want? Is this something that I need to feel like I am a contributing member of society? Is this something that I feel the drive and the urge to achieve? For some people, men and women, absolutely. They want that C suite and they want to aspire to lead large organizations with multitudes of layers and complexities. And for other people, they don't. And that's okay. And I think sometimes as we strive to understand and really pinpoint the why, sometimes the why is right in front of us. And the why is it's not worth it.
It's not worth it, and it takes a level of maturity to have this self-awareness to know if that is what you truly want, because sometimes that aspiration to the C-suite is for status or for your ego, right? Like, "That's what I want. I wanna be there." But then as you mature in your career and your work and your life, maybe you just realize that that is not what you actually want. And I think to your point about mental health, when you are that level of leadership, there is an extended amount of time where you have to be on, right?
Right.
When we're working, when you're uh, an independent contributor, you work 40 hours a week and you're on for 40 hours a week. But then as a senior leader, you might have to be on for twice that amount of time. And it is draining and it is exhausting. And might to your point, not be worth it.
I think this is an important moment of reflection for companies and organizations to say, do we have unrealistic expectations of our leaders to transform cultures, lead and set strategy, model the correct behavior that we all would like to see embodied within our leadership roles and those to whom we report? Um, and what does that mean for people with strong leadership potential to be self-selecting out of that opportunity because they find it draining, and not worth the risk and the impact on their general health and well-being and balance in life and what they are otherwise beyond their professional aspirations seeking to achieve throughout the course of their life. So I would be curious to hear from people listening, how are your companies grappling with the expectations that we place now upon our leaders? I think many of them are incredibly unrealistic.
I agree. And I would also like to hear from somebody who maybe made that realization and pivoted their career or pivoted their goals from I want to be at the top to what did you pivot to? Like what was that next step for you?
Yeah, I was speaking with an incredible leader. I almost said a woman leader, and now I'm actually just trying to stop myself from leading with a gender before I say leader. And it's hard with an organization like Access and Board Ready Women, where we focus so much on advancing women in leadership, to say I was sitting beside this amazing leader. She just so happens to be a female leader, but that is not what defines her as a leader. And she was talking about being on the verge of burnout and needing to really make a change in her life, but also to question, how did I get to this point? How did things become so chaotic, so consuming that I didn't realize that I had lost myself in this quest for professional achievement?
Yeah, and I I am curious what life stage these individuals are at too, because I think life events can impact this sight you have for what you want your life to look like.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is true. And there is a whole other dynamic that I would love to get into on a future podcast. And it was something that she brought up. She was like, plus, I was going through menopause. And I laugh, but I don't think we really talk about the like biological impacts of if you're in your, late 40s, early 50s, and you're finally in the C-suite and you're like, why can't I string a sentence together? Why do I have this brain fog? What is going on? And why am I waking up in the middle of the night in a hot sweat? And
Now I'm
what
sleep
is going
deprived.
on? Right? And you're trying to make sense of it all. At the same time, think about, what does my future with this company look like?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. That will have to be another podcast because I think we could talk about that at length.
Yes. Well, I am interested to hear from people listening as to their perceptions on the evolving nature of leadership and the expectations that we place upon our leaders to solve problems, set strategy, lead direction in an environment where it is relentless and unforgiving. Is it worth it? The Quiet Part Out Loud is produced by Access Connects and brought to you by, oh, wait, is there a sponsorship opportunity there? Learn more at accessconnects.com.